Let us now study about the properties of carbon compounds. The first property is generally the melting and boiling points of carbon compounds are found to be lower than 300 degrees Celsius. That is, they have low melting and boiling points. Thus, the intermolecular attractive forces are weak in carbon compounds. So in short, what we have to remember is that the melting and boiling points of carbon compounds are very, very low. Now we have also studied ionic compounds. Ionic compounds have very high melting and boiling points. And the reason that we had studied was that ionic compounds are formed between positively and negatively charged ions. Since the ions are oppositely charged, the force of attraction between them is very, very strong. And hence they had very high melting and boiling points. And even the intermolecular forces of attraction between them was very strong because of the oppositely charged ions. But what we find in case of carbon compounds is that they have got very low melting and boiling points, and the intermolecular forces of attraction are also very weak. They lack electrical conductivity, thus they are bad conductors of electricity. It means that the chemical bonds in carbon compounds do not produce ions. Again, we find that carbon compounds are poor conductors or bad conductors of electricity. They do not allow electricity to flow through them. And the reason is that they do not produce ions. Means they are non-electrolytes. We had also studied this point with respect to ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are electrolytes. That is, they give rise to ions, and these ions start moving towards respective electrodes when electric current passes through them. And this constitutes the flow of electric current in case of ionic compounds which are electrolytes. So carbon compounds are non-electrolytes. They do not produce ions. And since there is no formation of ions, there is no conduction of electricity, and hence they are bad conductors of electricity. They are insoluble in water but soluble in organic compounds like benzene, petrol, diesel, ethanol, etc. So carbon compounds are insoluble in water, but they are soluble in organic solvents or organic compounds like benzene, petrol, diesel, ethanol, etc. This point also with respect to ionic compounds we had studied, and we found that ionic compounds are soluble in water, but they are insoluble in organic solvents. The best example is of sodium chloride, which is a ionic compound formed between a metal and a non-metal, oppositely charged ions, that is Na plus and Cl minus. So opposite charges, they attract one another, and we know that sodium chloride is soluble in water. But as far as carbon compounds are concerned, they are insoluble in water, but they are soluble in organic compounds or solvents like these. Here is a chart, and it is telling you about the various organic compounds. All these are organic compounds: methane, CH4, ethanol, CH3, CH2, OH. You can even add up all the atoms and write a formula that will become C2. There are 2 carbon atoms. H, we will count only these 5 over here, and OH will remain as it is. It's a functional group, so we will leave it. So we can even write ethanol as C2H5 5OH. Then we have chloroform CHCl3 and acetic acid, that is CH3COOH. So if we see the melting and boiling points of all these organic compounds, we find that they are very low. So this shows us that the first property, that is, they have got low melting and boiling points. One point that we can remember here is regarding acetic acid. At 17 degrees Celsius, or we can even say 290 Kelvin, we find that acetic acid solidifies into a ice-like mass, and then it is called as glacial acetic acid. So acetic acid at temperature of 17 degrees Celsius or below it solidifies into ice-like mass, and it is called as glacial acetic acid. So these are the 3 points regarding carbon compounds, the properties of carbon compounds. Now that we know that carbon forms large number of compounds, and the main motive behind any element to form a compound is to achieve the state of stability. And to achieve the state of stability, it can gain electron, it can lose electrons, or it can share electrons. So there are a number of alternatives before carbon, and it can take up many such ways in which it can establish an octet in the outermost orbit, and it can achieve the electronic configuration to the nearest noble gas and become stable. So let us see what are the various options for carbon and which path does it take up in order to form a compound and become stable. So here is a table which is showing us carbon atom. It has got atomic number 6, 6 electrons and 6 protons are going to be present. Protons are positively charged that are present inside the nucleus, whereas the 6 electrons are distributed in the 2 shells, and the first shell has 2 electrons and the next one has 4 electrons. Number of electrons in the valence shell, that is outermost shell, that is 4, and nearby noble gas and the electronic configuration. So nearest noble gas to carbon is either helium, that is with 2 electrons, and neon with 2,8 electronic configuration. So carbon can either lose all 4 electrons and achieve the electronic configuration of helium, or it can gain 4 more electrons and achieve the electronic configuration of neon. So let us see what are the various alternatives. The first one is to attain the configuration of noble gas helium by losing one after another all the 4 valence electrons. So if carbon loses all its 4 valence electrons from here, it will have electronic configuration 2, which will be same as helium. So what happens if it loses all its 4 electrons? The net positive charge on the carbon atom goes on increasing during loss of every electron. So as carbon will start losing one electron after another, the positive charge on it will go on increasing, in the sense that the number of protons remain the same, that is 6 inside the nucleus. But what is decreasing? The number of electrons. One by one, the number of electrons are going on decreasing. So we say that the net positive charge on carbon atom goes on increasing with every loss of electron. Now what will happen on account of this? Therefore, to lose the next electron, more energy is required, which makes the task more difficult. Now, how does it require more energy every time to lose an electron? Now, when it loses one electron or more than one electron, the positive charge on it goes on increasing, or the protons in the nucleus remain the same, and hence positive charge is very high. Now, what will happen on account of this is that the nucleus will exert more and more force on the electrons and will hold them tightly. Nucleus has got a force which is called nuclear force, and it is exerted by the nucleons, that is protons and neutrons. And as the number of electrons in the shells go on decreasing, this force becomes more and more, and it is going to hold the electrons very, very tightly. Therefore, more energy will be required to lose every electron at a time. So I hope you understand why it requires more energy every time to lose an electron. Because if positive charge in the nucleus, that is protons, are increasing as compared to the electrons, because electrons are gradually getting lost, but the number of positive charge is the same, it will exert more nuclear force and hold the electrons tightly. Therefore, more energy will be required to lose the electrons. Moreover, the carbon 4 plus cation, cations are positively charged ions. So if carbon loses all its 4 electrons, it will develop 4 positive charges. Means the positive charge over it will increase by 4. Cation that would ultimately form in this process become unstable in spite of its noble gas configuration, because it has a small size with high net charge. So this cation would be extremely unstable in spite of it achieving the electronic configuration of helium, because of the small size and very high net charge, that is of 4 positive charge. Therefore, carbon atom does not take this route to attain noble gas configuration. So this method of losing 4 electrons and achieving the electronic configuration of helium, that is a duplet, is not taken up by carbon.